All right, today we are still doing adding and subtracting rationals like we did the other day, but now we're going to have different denominators, which means I need to find my LCD, okay? In order to, if your denominators are different, you have to multiply one or both by something to make them look like each other. What you cannot do is just add a 2 here to make it look like this side. That won't work. Same, you can't just subtract a 2 here to make it look like this side. You have to multiply by something. So since there's nothing that I can multiply x by to make it look like an x plus 2, what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this whole fraction, top and bottom, by this denominator. And then I'm going to multiply this fraction, top and bottom, by this denominator. Meaning my LCD is going to be these two denominators multiplied by each other. Like so. Okay? So I'm going to multiply both sides by an x. It doesn't matter if you put it in the front or back. We're used to seeing numbers in front of the parentheses that are being multiplied, and then x would come at the end of your number. And then over here, I'm going to multiply by the x plus 2. So that now both denominators are x times x plus 2. X times x plus 2. Right? That's my least common denominator. And now I can add or subtract them together. But I would also want to, well, I'll just rewrite it. So I now have a 4x minus a 1 times x plus 2 over x times x plus 2. Okay. So I need to distribute this 1 to everything. Okay. So I'm going to have a 4x minus x, because negative 1 times x would be a negative x. And then a minus 2 divided by x times x plus 2. Okay, now I need to do 4x minus 1x, which would give me 3x minus 2 over x times x plus 2. Okay, good? The reason I could not cancel this x plus 2 right here is because it's being subtracted by something else. If this was just 4x parentheses x plus 2 where everything's being multiplied up top, then I could cancel those out. Let's look at another example. This is supposed to be an x right here, just so y'all know. Okay. And there's nothing there. All right. So I have a 2x, a 3x, and a 9, okay? My LCD, I've got to find it. It's going to have an x in it because both of these have just one x. So my LCD is going to have an x, and then I need to figure out 2, 3, and 9. What's their least common multiple? Okay. Well, 9, we have 9, 18, 27, 3, 9, but when we do 2, it doesn't, get to 9, okay? So we would have to keep going. 12, 15, 18, so I have an 18 and an 18, and then I know since that's an even number, it's also going to work with 2. So 18 x would be my LCD. So I'm going to rewrite each fraction to have an 18x as my denominator. Okay? So each of these denominators needs to become 18x. So what do I multiply 2x by to become 18x? Well, it's already got the x part, so I just need to multiply it by 9. So I'll do that to the top and bottom. 2x times 9 is 18x. 6 times 9 is 54. 3x to become 18x is going to be times 6 on top and bottom. So minus 6. And then 9 to become 18x needs to be multiplied by a 2x. Okay? So 5 times 2x gives us 10x. On the top, 54 and 6 can go together, but not 10x. So 54 minus 6 would give us 48x. Ooh, not x, just 48, sorry, I'm looking at the 10x. So we'd have 48 plus 10x divided by 18x, okay? What I'm gonna notice is that all of these are even numbers, which means they can all be divided by 2, right? Or have a 2 factored out. So if I divided each of these things by 2, 48 divided by 2 is a 24. 10x divided by 2 is a 5x. 18 divided by 2 is a 9x, with my 2 out front. And these 2's would cancel, leaving this as my answer. Okay, 24 plus 5x divided by 9x. All right, number 3. If I just have y plus 2, that's really y plus 2 over 1, okay? So in order to make these denominators be the same, I can just multiply 1 by y minus 3. That's going to be my LCD because I can actually multiply this by something to make it look like this. So we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by a y minus 3. Okay? So up top we have y plus 2 times y minus 3. So I'm going to do... Oh, and y'all can't see the right side of the thing. Sorry about that. Alright. So I'm going to do y plus 2 times y minus 3. Y times y is a y squared. Y times a negative 3 is a negative 3y. 2 times y is a 2y. And 2 times the negative 3 is a negative 6. And we have like terms right here. So we get y squared. Negative 3y plus 2y is a negative 1y minus 6. So that's what we have up top. Y squared minus y minus 6. And then plus 4 over y minus 3. Okay, so then I can combine these to be y squared minus y minus 2 over y minus 3. Okay, really then what I would want to do is see if I could factor this top one and see if it would have a y minus 3 on the top. To save us the time right now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you it wouldn't work. But if you could factor this and it had a y minus 3 as one of its factors, then you could cancel it out, right? It's not going to. I think its factors are going to be negative x minus 2 and x plus 1. So it wouldn't cancel out with an x plus 3. So this would be our final answer. Alright, so once again, there's nothing I can multiply this denominator by to make it be this one and vice versa. So what we're going to do is multiply this whole thing by this fraction and then this whole denominator by this fraction. So I'm going to multiply this side by x plus 1 and this side also by x plus 1. Then I'm going to multiply this side by x, minus 2 and then x minus 2. Okay, that means our LCD is going to be x plus 1 times x minus 2. The order that you put these in doesn't matter. I could have put x minus 2 first and x plus 1. That part doesn't matter, okay? So then on top, I'm going to need to eventually distribute to both, right? And this is a minus. So what we have is 3 times x plus 1 minus 2 times x minus 2 over x minus 2 times x plus 1. Okay, so I'm going to distribute. Okay, so then I get 3x, and then 3 times 1 would be plus 3. And then negative 2 times x would be a negative 2x, and then negative 2 times a negative 2 would make a positive 4 over x minus 2 times x plus 1. Combining like terms, so 3x minus 2x will give me a 1x, and then 3 plus 4 would be plus 7 over x minus 2 times x plus 1. And that would be your final answer. And for example 6, you have an x minus 2, an x plus 1, an x plus 1, and x plus 3. The x plus 1s repeat, okay? So what you're doing here is your LCD is going to be all 3 of these factors. And I mean 3 because this one repeats. So you have an x plus 1, an x minus 2, and an x plus 3. Okay? So once again, the order that you write these factors in does not matter. Okay? This order does not matter, but you need all 3 to be your denominator. So you're going to multiply this denominator by which one you're missing. Well, you have the x minus 2, you have the x plus 1, you're missing the x plus 3. So you're going to multiply both the top and the bottom by the x plus 3. And over here, you have the x plus 1 and the x plus 3, you're missing the x minus 2. So you're going to multiply the top and bottom by the x minus 2. Okay? So up top, you're going to distribute that 2. So 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 3 is plus 6. And then positive 3 times x is going to be 3x. And 3 times a negative 2 is a negative 6. Over x minus 2 times x plus 1 times x plus 3. Combining like terms, 2x plus 3x gives us 5x, and then 6 minus 6, these would cancel out. So you have a 5x over x minus 2 times x plus 1 times x plus 3, and that is your answer. Okay. All right, so last one. The first thing we need to do is we need to factor both. Okay, so we can figure out what our LCD needs to be. Okay, so here, if you notice, you have 2 terms. One's an x squared, and there's subtraction in between, which means it's probably special cases. So this is the difference of squares. Hopefully you remember this. If you've forgotten this, you can Google it. But basically, since the square root of x squared is x, and the square root of 1 is 1, that means we're going to factor this to be x plus 1 and x minus 1. Okay? Then here, we're going to do our x box. Okay? So, a is 1, b is negative 3, c is negative 4. So 1 times negative 4 is negative 4, but b is negative 3. So, in order to add up and be negative, my larger ones would need to be negative, and the only ones to add to be negative 3 would be positive 1 and a negative 4. So we're going to have x plus 1 times x minus 4. Okay, so the one that they both have in common is this x plus 1. So LCD is going to be x plus 1, and then the 2 that they're missing, or the 2 that they don't have in common, the x minus 1, the x minus 4. You're not putting the one that they both have in common twice, okay? So I'm going to multiply this, both top and bottom, by the one that they're missing, which is the x minus, oh, I know I can't see that, the x minus 4, sorry. LCD is x plus 1, x minus 1, and x minus 4. So since this fraction is missing the x minus 4, multiply the top and bottom by the x minus 4. And here I'm multiplying, it has x plus 1, it has x minus 4, but it's missing the x minus 1. So multiply the top and bottom by the x minus 1. Okay. So now this is my LCD. I just need to distribute this 2 on the top to both these terms. So I'd have a 2x minus 8. And then 1 distributed to both, it just leaves it as a positive x and a negative 1. Okay? And then on the bottom, you have your LCD, x plus 1 times x minus 1 times x minus 4. Combining like terms, 2x plus an x gives me a 3x, and negative 8 minus 1 would be a negative 9 over x plus 1 times x minus 1 times x minus 4. Okay? So really what we'd want to do is find our GCF and factor it out to see if there's a factor that would cancel out here. My GCF would be 3, leaving me an x minus 3. There is not an x minus 3 on the bottom that it would cancel out with, so I'm just going to leave this as my answer.